In this video, we're going to be exploring how to set up levels within your affordable home design to create a residential foundation per Habitat for Humanity guidelines. As we get started, I have my 3D view of my model that I'm going to be working with here. I'm going to move down to the east elevation, and I have two levels currently. I've got the finished floor level set at 0 feet 0 inches, and I have a ceiling level set at 8 feet even for the wall heights. The rest above that is going to be determined by the roof slope. In order to go through and add a level, I'm going to be on the Architecture tab, and I'm going to find the Datum panel. And on the Datum panel, I'm going to find Level. And from here, I can go through and draw in some new levels. So in order to do that, I'm going to start over at the left side, and I want to make sure that I see this blue dashed line on the left side to help me line up with the end of the level that I have above. I'm going to left click to start drawing the level, and it's just like drawing a line. I'm going to go over until I see that blue dashed vertical line that helps me line up the end of my level marker. So I'm going to go ahead and left click to place it. I'm going to repeat this process 2 more times, following the exact same process as what I did, so making sure I have that. And I'm going to place these levels. Do not worry about right now the labeling or the height at which they're set at. We are going to be adjusting those as we go along. So the one thing I'm going to start with is the one right below the finished floor. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to double click to change the name of this. This will be labeled as TO Foundation Wall. And what this stands for, and we want to make sure to rename the corresponding views, yes. But what the TO Foundation Wall is, this is the top of the foundation wall. So this would be the very top part of it, and we can go through right now. It's set at -7 feet. We do need to make that adjustment. However, I need to consider something. The top of the foundation wall is going to come up to meet the bottom of the floor. Now the floor extends below my ground level, and the question is by how much. So, and there's another element in here we need to be considerate of. So I'm going to go up here to the Measure Between Two References tool. I can click to see how far of a measurement do I have. The floor extends below that finished floor level that I have by 10 3/4 of an inch. Now I do need to go through and take into consideration that you're going to have one element that we're going to put in here known as a sill plate. So the sill plate is actually going to sit below the flooring, and that plate is actually what is used to go through and fasten the flooring to the foundation wall. And that can be done with a variety of ways, through anchor bolts, through straps, whatever that may be, but we're going to take into account of that. This framing member is usually a 2x6 softwood pine kind of framing member being used, and in that we're going to go through and frame it. So when we look at setting this up, I'm going to also take into account that I got 10 3/4 of an inch, but I need to add the height of what that 2x6 is laying down. So I need to add another 1.5 inches to that. So 10 3/4, so 10.75 plus 1.5 is going to put me at 12.25 or 12 1/4 as we do that. So here's what I'm going to do to kind of help me out with setting this up. Is I can go ahead, since I've already done the math, I'm going to show you a couple ways. This one here I've already done a math, so I can even go through and do a -0, and here I can do 12 1/4 of an inch and hit enter, and it's going to automatically change that to -1 foot and 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so that's the top of the foundation wall. Okay, later we'll explore another method on how to move these foundation methods. One thing you're going to notice is that we're going to be competing with these levels, so we don't want these to be overlapping. So I'm going to select the TO foundation wall level, and you're going to notice there's a little like Z shape right here, which is called Add Elbow. When I click on that, I can go through now and I get these blue grips to which I can drag, and we don't want any of those lines. Usually I see them kind of, if you go through and need to have the room, I see these kind of channeled like this. I'm going to do the same thing on the finished floor. I'm going to add the elbows right there, and what I can do is I'm going to move that finished floor level label up above, and I'm going to give it just a little bit more room on the top of the foundation wall. Don't want to do a huge amount, but just enough so that way we have some clear communication and we don't have any of those overlapping each other or causing any issues. Let me make sure I get nice straight lines here. There we go. And so there we have that to go through and adjust. Okay. Now here's what I'm going to end up doing is you're going to see that level is set below. So when I go through and I take my measure tool and I measure from the bottom of the floor to there, you're going to see there it says 1.5 inches. So that's going to account for that 2 by 6. So real dimensions, 1.5 inches by 5.5 to set that up. So that's actually what's going to take me to next. So I'm going to go down and I'm going to look in my floor plans, double click on the TO foundation wall, and here you're going to be able to see you do have the outline edges here, but here's the thing I'm going to change while we're here is I'm going to go ahead and go to my properties palette and scroll down until I find view range, and I'm going to choose the edit button. Now this is kind of what this is looking at whenever you have a view set up, is it's looking at what are the cut planes, like where exactly, what are you seeing in each one of the levels. So if you have stuff above a cut plane, you're not going to see it, and if you have stuff out of the range, you're not going to be able to see it as well. So I'm going to go ahead and change the cut plane to just to 2 inches, because right now we have the level set at that line. We're just going to bump it up 2 inches because I want to see just the outside of the flooring, and I'm going to hit apply. And here you're going to probably still see some furniture and things like that. If I want to clear those out, I could go through and hide those. They're not really going to go through and cause any problems right now. But when we get into the next video, I'm going to show you. Next thing we want to do also is we want to change our level of detail to fine. But I want to be able to see my layers are in the wall. So right now you're going to see this is the wall, and this right here is actually the flooring. So when we draw this, we're going to be drawing to the inside of these lines when we go in the subsequent video. Okay, so this is already set up for you to go through and do that in the next video. Alright, going back to the east elevation, our second method here to set up our levels for us is going to look like this. I'm going to take the align dimension tool, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on these two levels, the spacing between, and place a dimension. Cancel off of the tool. And then I know that the height of the foundation walls need to be 4 feet. So this is a 4 feet deep crawl space that we need. So I'm going to select this level. This will turn blue to be changed. And I'm going to go ahead and set this to 4 feet. So that way there's a 4 feet separation. And from here I can go ahead and rename this level. So this level is going to be, and I don't have to worry about the depth, this is going to be TO footing. So this is going to be the top of the footing, and we do want to rename the corresponding views. Add the elbow in and go ahead and set up on these little grips. You just want it where the labels are below, and again I want to drag this down just a little bit so we have some clear communication. Okay, what you can do now is you can delete the dimension and it still keeps the same level. Okay, same process using the align dimension between this one and the next level. Cancel to get off the tool twice. Select the bottom line. Choose 8 inches. Make sure you hit 2 tick marks there. And now you'll see level 25 is up there. Again, same kind of thing. Let me go ahead and adjust this a little bit for me, and I can drag here below, and actually I'm going to make sure to move this line to the inside so that way they are not crossing each other, and I can drag this down. So we don't want to have any of those lines crossing each other, and we're going to name this one to be BO footing, which stands for the bottom of the footing. So common architecture kind of notation. Okay, all of our levels are set up. I can delete this dimension. And for the top of footing, the last thing we're going to do, go into the top of the footing. Very much so what you're going to see is there's nothing here, or all you're going to find is just your furniture. Again, I'm going to scroll down to much like how we did before until I find the view range. And instead of the offset being at 4 feet, I'm going to set that to 4 feet 6 inches. Hit apply, and now I'm able to see what would be the outside boundaries of the floor. So that bumped it up another 6 inches. Now I'm kind of set to cut through the floor, and that's going to help me see that. I'm going to go ahead and say OK. And in the previous video, or in the next video, I should say, we're going to go through and be taking a look at utilizing these boundaries and modeling our components that we need for our foundation.